Hello and welcome to the Prismatic Congress, a broadcast by the Prismatic Imperium based in QBO, an active player group that makes part of the Ashling Deval community and specializes in roleplay. I am Mistler, Lord Warden of the branch of Vigor, and it is the 1st of March, Sunday at 2200 UTC. In terms of game news, Frontier is rather quiet, to be honest. There was only very simple developments, but nothing of the big things we are waiting for, which is, first of all, fleet carriers, of course, which is, at least to the knowledge that we have right now, still planned for the summer. But we haven't heard any news about those so far. And then there should also be a new bug fix update coming some time before that. I personally would have expected that to be on schedule for April, but since we know there should be a public beta again, I would also expect news about that to appear very, very soon. And I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. So new news on that front, but I hope we'll hear more about that very soon. Nevertheless, Frontier was not completely inactive. There was one post, which was a follow-up post on the reduction of Gallnet activity. To recap that, a couple of months ago, Frontier had that announcement that they are reducing Gallnet and are stripping it of all those filler articles that do not have any meaning for ongoing events. And now there was a follow-up post on that where they expressed that they are taking a lot of feedback that has come in since then into account and shared some more in-depth information on their decisions they made there and why it is so quiet. They said in that article that the narrative and writing team is not simply only writing Gallnet articles and related stuff there, but they are very busy with upcoming content, suggesting that they are putting all of their effort not just into fleet carriers, but also into the 2020 release. And these efforts have probably had a higher impact than they expected at first, so that even interstellar initiatives are currently at least not really something that we see. There wasn't any comment on whether there will be a new interstellar initiative sometime soon or not. I would hope there will be at least some until we get the big patch, but yeah, they seem to be pretty caught up in it, and they emphasized that they do not want to have these old filler articles again, because it just is misleading people in the game, and especially new players thought that if there's an article about something happening, that they can actually even fly to these systems and see something, which is not true. So misleading articles is another reason why they have been reducing these Scarlet articles. So for now, they say it's not likely to change, but they still are reading the feedback on it and considering what to do with Gallnet. Another minor piece of news is that the community manager Paige Harvey has left Frontier Developments. I will put the link to her statement and goodbye post into the podcast description on YouTube, so you can check it out. But she started in April 2016 and has now moved on to New Frontiers. Other than that, I want to say a few things about group news that are not particularly branch specific. I'm happy that while I was not available for the last Congress podcast, that my two other branch leaders had a great podcast on their own. So that was really interesting. And Kevin introduced there or announced changes to the commission system, and these changes are now live on our website. So the commission system has been completely refactored, and at least in terms of rewards and costs. So these can now be completely customized. The first commissions have already appeared. I think Kevin will say something about that later on. But yeah, those changes are now live, and you will see more variation in the commission system very soon, now that introduced system is live. Another thing that is alive for us is mainly an admin feature, which will probably bring some changes into how you will see narrative and NPCs that do not have special accounts on our Discord server post. There's a new RP posting tool that allows us. We haven't used it yet, but you'll see it very soon. That allows us to post as pretty much any NPC we want without having to set up special accounts for them. So I'm excited to get that in for some more generic NPCs and narrative very soon. But now let's go over to the branch news. First of all, branch of Vigor. All right, for the branch of Vigor, a lot of things have not really changed, but activity has shifted a lot. I'm happy to see that branch of Vigor continues to be fairly active and shedding at the moment. While we are not many, at least I'm really happy to see a lot of regular activity at the moment. You may have noticed that there was a shift in our objectives, with the Prismatic Imperium minor faction being pretty much a maintenance faction anyway, that we contain into our core systems, and the Adamantine Union being pretty big and borderline too big for the player base that we have and that is active in the game. I was very eager to try a new approach in managing our objectives, and that is shifting in more external objectives where we help out other people and factions and allies within the greater bubble of Ashling Duval. And that's what we've done. We have more internal objectives where we just fly out and help other people. And so far, I'm really happy with how that experiment turned out. The downside too is that these objectives and systems are a little bit further away from our home of QBure and the Adamantine Union, but that doesn't seem to deter anyone, and there's a lot of activity. I'm really happy to see that. So I'll continue to monitor that and maybe make adjustments into how many objectives we get or how to focus that and consider feedback. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. Development, I hope people like it. One more thing that I want to mention is, again, regarding the reworked commission system. This is usually a mine thing, but the reason I want to bring it up with Vigor is because I made that demo commission. You may have seen it. There was a set of 2 commissions around conflict zones and Catherine Edmonds. And if you saw that and like what you see, I'd love some more feedback on whether you want to see more of it. So this demo commission was basically interacting with in-game objectives, so that you could report conflict zones that you ran in the game just as you would normally, and these would count towards commission. So basically, in-game activity connected for the branch of Vigor to the commission system and the new resource and cost system with the commissions. If there's interest in that, I'm certainly happy to add more of those, and with this way, basically add some soft roleplay layer on top of activities you're doing anyway for the branch of Vigor. And now let me head over to Lord Headmaster Techeron for the branch of Sight.
My dear Lord Warden, let me say you something. I think there haven't been a single episode where you weren't cut off from introducing a branch. It's just so funny that your mic doesn't recognize the last few letters of the word Vigor or Sight.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny.
It's working in the recording, so that's surprising, but okay.
Probably a Discord thing. However, Sight's California exploration event has started. Our target, the Bubble Nebula, is just the last waypoint of 6 that we're going to discover and make a lot of screenshots of. I know that a lot of people have already started, but not all of them. So please, all participants, get back into line. Message me and inform each and everyone if you're already on the way and if you've taken some nice screenshots. I have to admit that I didn't start myself yet. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in my ship because of paperwork. But don't worry. I know I'm behind, but that doesn't mean I'll not arrive. I'll get to my ship as soon as possible and I'll travel to you. Because only group exploration is the enjoyable part of exploration. If you travel alone, you have to be careful if you don't get infested with space madness. However, I don't see such an occurrence happening in this expedition, as we'll be a happy bunch of people who'll just look for nice screenshots and a lot of scientifically interesting places. I hope to see you soon out there. Up to mind.
Thank you, Lord Headmaster. It is I, the Lord Herald, Kevin Massey, and I've got some exciting news for you this week. The Branch of Mind has been pretty slow. That's because I've taken a much needed week-long break, and it's been very busy on my end. But I'm feeling pretty rejuvenated now for some new exciting stuff. The most important thing I want to elaborate on is my excitement for the Diamond Market commissions that Mistler overhauled. Now that that is complete, like he said, there's a lot of new functionality. I just wanted to brush up on some of the things that I've been doing with it. I don't think he noticed, but when he had a commission that gave you supplies that another commission needed, that was from what's her name? Catherine Edmonds. There was a counter commission also made available that sat right beside her called Vigor Operations Archivekimos, I think is how I pronounce that. Arvakimos. What was fun about that one is Commander TTMJ actually flew out to that system to see why it differed from Vigor Operation Cubio, as there was somebody offering double rewards for the same material if you gave it to him instead of Catherine Edmonds. And he came to find out that that system happens to share the same location where the Varangian Syndicate operate from. So that mission was not completed, but it was fun to see what Mistler had done there with his demo, and I wanted to show that I wanted to do a demo of where you'd have choices of where your rewards could go, and some of them may conflict with each other. So I was very excited to see that T actually looked at this place in game and didn't go for it. So that's a preview of more to come from that, and me trying to create a little bit more interaction with the game if you want to push it further and gain additional rewards. I will be catching up on mind rewards this week, since I know I haven't been doing the rewards yet, but they will come this week. So please remember to report your roleplay interactions, because remember that actually rewards pretty well for reputation. It is the primary way to gain your reputation in mind, and I want us to be able to compete with the other two branches with our rewards. So it I expect just good narrative, and if it progresses the plot in any way, that is an automatic plus 25 reputation. If you push that even further, that goes up to 50, and I just raise in increments of 25 for the most part, based on how you progress the story. So feel free to do that every single day. There currently is not a cap, so check the mind mission board and see what you can do there, because a lot of it also will complement the other branches if you're just willing to do the extra work of writing some narrative. Going back to the Diamond Market Commission overhaul, I just want to say these are a quick recap of what's new. We now have new mission items. A lot of them are still invisible, but they are created, as I said last week. So feel free to keep a watch on there and kind of preview what I've got visible, and you might be able to see where it could play into the narrative in the future. Commissions now require items, potentially, so that really expands on just paying diamonds out. Commissions will also reward multiple items, which is really handy. So if I want you to be able to get a bunch of scrap metal for uh, one of the more common salvaging operations, I can now do that. And additionally, I can reward a quantity of items. So quantity of items and multiple items really go hand in hand. Lastly, I've been adding some generic NPCs to really work with that new NPC post system that Mistler introduced. And so I'm pretty excited about that. The work on it runs pretty slow still because it's actually a significant. It's kind of time consuming to create these extra accounts and then outfit them appropriately if I want them outfitted, which will be really useful when people are using squad view. And if I didn't mention that last week, the squad view is extremely handy for both you and me. It's handy for me when I'm running a session because it shows me what generic NPCs can do, as it's really easy to forget to utilize the wide range of tools that we have. And I'm not here with a DM book looking through equipment or anything. But our website has all of that handy material, and the squad view makes it easy to see that equipment equipped, so I don't forget the wide range of opportunities I have with the enemies. That should help make things a little bit more meaningful and impactful when you're dealing with less enemies. So I'll be transitioning from the kind of the armies that you've been fighting to something a little bit more personal. And that, I think, concludes the branch of mine news this week.
Thank you very much. And I do have some follow up, but I would actually like to carry that over directly into the prismatic discussion part. So let's roll the intro.
Prismatic discussion. Prismatic discussion.
Well,
Prismatic discussion.
There we
I have
go.
no idea what happened. I had to put it in twice.
Yeah, no idea.
Well,
Yeah.
let's get started.
Yeah, I cannot.
I would actually pick.
You need to add a Biakinar in there.
That's true.
Probably.
I would like to pick up directly the mind part for now, with the commission system. And to answer your question straight away, yes, I did see the counter commission. I don't think it was by Monty Erickson. Was there a name? I think there was. I don't remember if there was a name. Or was it generic? At least it was. It was kind of a well, choose what you think is the real branch of Vigor, asking for materials here. And I think that was a really brilliant idea, and even more so, I think it is a great thing, an advantage of that new cost and reward system, because now it's not just about diamonds, and you can just start any commission as long as you have the diamonds or the rep for it. But now it was a really specific commission that required you to basically pay this very same mats that the other one needed. And if there's only one source of getting them, which is by other commissions, then you have to decide. I can do either this or that, and the cost kind of rules the other one out. I think that's a great advantage of the new system.
Yeah, I'm really loving the I tried exercising that specifically, where I did an exotic purchase for the Xi system, where now our mysterious contact is asking for something, that an item that you have, a treasured item in this case. So I'm even branching off of the we've been talking a lot about the new mission items, but this is bigger than that. So
Right.
Ray Tracer donated all of his Kingslayer gear, all 3 pieces of it. So he's risking his own personal property for this commission.
It's a high risk mission, right?
I'm sorry?
It's a high risk mission, right?
No, this one is classified as medium because I wanted people to actually try it out. Anyone who's familiar with the Xi missions, it's had such a low success rate that
Right.
when you're putting things on the line, I didn't want this to sit here unutilized forever. I do want to also throw out that I added a Marcus DePalo 100K loan, since I know the 10K loan is pretty hard for anyone who's established here to use, because it does lock you for potentially a month. Which I do want to remind you, you can end it early. If you contact Marcus DePalo and you have the money, he will end it early for you. But I think the 100K will give a lot more freedom to people that just need some extra cash to throw into whatever it is they're trying to do.
100K is good. You could actually invest those in cars and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I know that TTMJ really could have used it this last sale, because he ended up selling that really rare vehicle that he needed special permission to acquire, and then he had to go ask for it again, which was pretty embarrassing. It's like, thanks for that really huge favor you did for me, but I had to sell it so that I could, and this would have helped avoid that potentially. So I do expect it will have. I just noticed that nobody has ever tried the Marcus DePalo 10K loan, and I think it's because they're afraid it locks them up for a month. Because it shouldn't be too hard to make that money back with some profit. And even if it didn't, just to remind you, it does reward you reputation.
Might be worth to add in a note there that you can complete these early too if you want to.
I might need to. You do know Marcus talks a lot, so
So
he's
that
kind of,
might make it more clear that you don't have to lock yourself out for 30 days.
yeah, that's not a bad idea. He could probably say a little bit less in any given line here, so
I'm,
that he
I'm
can mention that.
not sure what your stance is in general. I see there's in the Xi commission there's a note, but that's also mostly in character. For the pre-commission before the Catherine one, I actually used brackets with a note that completing in-game conflict zones and reporting these in our report channel will have an impact on this mission. So that was a little bit out of character. I don't know what your stance is on, or how you would do in this case, but I think that also helps to clarify what you can do in game to have an effect on the mission, how to report it, and I think I also had a note in there that you can complete this early.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to what you do for experimentation, because if that really helped people go out and do something in game, then um, that's not a bad idea to do. I generally don't do that, just because I'm hoping I can find a way to communicate that in character.
That's of course
But
probably the better idea. Yeah.
yeah, but if that's what it takes, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find your commission and I can't. Did you repurpose it?
Should still be there.
Okay.
What was it? Yeah, there it is. Reporting conflict zone activity in mission report will affect the outcome of this and can cause this to complete early. That was what I put in there as a note.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I will use that very sparingly, but for myself. But I do appreciate you creating Vigor commissions. Of course, Site has the opportunity to create commissions as well. This isn't just a system for me.
We will, don't worry.
I think this will work out very well, especially now that we also have all these mission items that are tailored specifically to these kind of commissions in a separate category. So we can, first of all, you can watch them and read through them, and since they are thematic, you can integrate them into commissions. For example, we have these scientific. Are those public? I don't think they are yet.
No, they're not.
Scientific data is not public yet, but yeah, we also have the scientific data mission items. That would, for example, be something that the branch of site could use, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, that is actually the next place that I'm focusing on. Since I did, there's a little bit more salvage and mining I need to do, but I'm hoping to just knock all these out pretty quick, hopefully this week. But scientific data is my next. Uh, oh, you know what? I noticed you say you call it scientific data and then combat data and then corporate data. Can you actually remove the word data from those? Scientific can be samples. Um, if anything, I don't know. You could just leave it as scientific, combat, corporate, salvage, mining.
I
I'm specifying that because I see there is a significant amount of data in the ones you call data, but that's not all it is.
Right. I guess I get what you mean. I can change that. Question is for consistency if we should change salvage and mining to be one word too.
I would just do one word: salvage, mining, scientific, combat,
Right.
corporate, or something like that. You could, yeah,
Yeah, that's not hard to do. I can do that.
okay,
Should that change should be live in a couple of days, I guess.
thanks. Yeah, I think people will appreciate when they can actually see all of these invisible items. It's just, I kind of want to unveil them with the artwork. So I won't set them to visible until they have an image. But I am rewarding them already. So if you want to make a commission, Techeron, that uses the scientific data, you can see the scientific data. So you can plot. Just read the descriptions, and that should be enough to inspire you for a decent commission. I will be making my own commissions pretty soon that are just science related and not have anything to do with the branch of site. But we can start rewarding these items even if you can't preview them on the mission item on the diamond market. So go ahead and have freedom to do whatever you want.
If you decide to put something like QB or 6 data in there, I'm going to be very angry.
I'm not trying to be silly here, but you never know what could show up on here. What'd you say, Missler?
I said I also like the idea of upgrade commissions and that the system allows us to easily do that, as you mentioned with Ray Tracer paying with his Kingslayer armor, basically.
Mhm.
But that can really be anything. So while mission items are great to be specifically tailored for RP and commissions, we're not limited to those. So we could also have a simple commission like give me a knife and I'll build you a tactical knife from it. So
Right. Yeah.
I like those ideas.
Yeah, I actually tested something similar to that. Well, I mean that's what Marcus DePalo was doing actually. I
With the auto
changed
hack,
that
right? Yeah.
commission a little bit where it now requires a basic auto hack. And so instead of you just paying him diamonds and him making an auto hack out of your diamonds, you're giving him an auto hack device with diamonds, and then he's customizing it to be better. So that is an upgrade. Another thing I tried doing was Gareth Shaw is now asking for a mongoose. So literally to complete that commission, you just pay him with a mongoose drone. So you would have to go buy a mongoose drone and then give it to him essentially, and then he'll reward you. So there's a lot of things I can do here. It's almost like the sky's the limit now. It's the only thing that's capping me is my own imagination.
Probably a character display limit, but other than that, yeah.
I mean, we now have the ability, if we so wanted to do that diamond to reputation conversion through a commission. We can really do anything we want through commissions. And it's actually even possible that, I wanted people to get their military vehicles through NPCs, but if I wanted to, I can now use the commissions to do it. You pay in diamonds, you have to have this amount of reputation, and maybe you have to add some items in there too, and you'll get, a vehicle out of it or Prismatic Imperium gear. So yeah, I have a lot of freedom with the new system, so I'm very happy with it.
To add a follow up myself on the RP posting tool, because I wasn't really precise when announcing the general idea of it. The idea is that we can basically post as any user. We only have to enter the name that we want to post as, pretty much, and select an avatar. That's something that's still refined, which is why the tool has not been used in practice yet. But it allows a lot of flexibility in that regard. And one example of why I myself was so interested in setting this up is that with the Vigor sheriffs, which is a squad of 4 characters, I'm not really motivated to commit to them to the degree that I want to create accounts for all of them. Yet I also am not too happy with constantly using the bot that we have right now and putting who speaks into the narrative text. And for the sheriffs, this would be a great opportunity to just say, okay, I want to post as cop, for example, now, and enter what he says, and it will show up in a more Discord-like way. And that's an opportunity I really like, and that I'm looking forward to use that for.
Yeah, this is essentially going to completely replace using the bot say, where you just see the bot says, this character is speaking. And
Exactly.
so no longer will you see the boss avatar, or the bot avatar. What do we call it? The Diamond Plaza is no longer going to be speaking for our generic NPCs. We'll instead have their avatar with their name in a legitimate, just like an account posting. The only thing that will tell you it's not an account is that it will have the bot tag on it.
Exactly. And you cannot use it for things like direct messages. So what we do for the tutorial with Marcus, for example, all of that wouldn't work because they do not have, they are not really accounts. But for simple dialogue in our RP channels, that is, I think, a pretty good solution.
Yeah, I love it. Just a quick clarification, technically. That will never disappear in history, right? We can go back 2 years from now, catching up on a session, and we're still going to see those avatars posted from the bot with that name, correct?
It should, yes.
Okay.
There may be some internal limits, I don't know, but I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
And as long as you can go back and see user messages, you should also be able to see those.
Great.
Kevin,
Yes.
can I ask you a few questions? Bunch of mind related.
I suppose.
Things that I wanted to ask you a long time already.
Okay.
So, okay, the things about pets that are being sold on the market. I'd like to know where they actually keep them, how they get transferred to you, and how they get transferred back if you sell them.
Hollow Me avatars or something ridiculous like that. Honestly, there's a little bit of hand waving that goes on with how quick the diamond market functions. What you're seeing on the diamond market interface is supposed to represent what your character would be seeing on their holographic display, whether they're in their ship or in their office or wherever. The transfer, I assume, is really quick and probably done by drone, but is not instantaneous. As for pets and really any of these items, I assume they are stored locally since this is a local version of the Diamond Market. So think of it as Diamond Market QBO edition, since it is supposed to be it's transgalactic. But there's a local outlet, and I suppose that any of the unique items are specifically displaying for what's close to us. So it's probably on Chelame, and they just immediately ship it to you as quickly as transferring ships and modules from one star system to another. As for where your inventory is, that is up to you and your narrative. It's not in your pocket. I know that.
Do pets really get transferred by drones?
I have no idea. Use your imagination.
Yeah, well, it's not just the pets I've wondered, but I've also wondered about a lot of other stuff. What actually happens when you buy 100 pieces of a harness jacket, for example, and then sell it again after it lost a bit of value?
Well, so there's probably, if this were real life, I mean, if we were actually in Elite Dangerous with this market, there's probably a lot more functionality to it, like asking where do you want your supplies shipped? Because right now, when you buy things, it pretty much means just your name is getting on it digitally. So no one else has access to it. What you choose to do with it then is up to you. So they can be like, do you want us to ship it to a physical address? Otherwise, it's just being held in the bay or the warehouse, So
It sure
go
gives you
ahead.
also some freedom with the roleplay. I know Barefeet, for example, has liked to integrate things he got on current diamond sales into his descriptions, which I think what I really liked. But it's really up to you.
Yeah, I'm not about setting a bunch of rules on this stuff. I want you to have the freedom to decide how you want it to be. If you ship it straight to your office and there it arrives by drone or people, that is up to you. That's not for me to enforce.
On top of that, that is also part of the change when we moved all these new mission items into their own category. These are not items that you can equip on your character sheet. We just assume that you have them, and depending on what they are, that you can use them in some RP context that is fitting. So if you think you have all these salvage materials that you get from a commission in some kind of warehouse stored, or if you have it on your ship's cargo bay, or if you actually have it in your house, doesn't really matter. But it's up to you. We just assume that as soon as you have these in your inventory, you can also use them.
Mhm.
I've just noticed that there are a lot more Trumbles than soldier uniforms on the market. That's concerning.
That is natural because one of our newer members went ahead and sold all of his trumbles, as did you. So that is actually the only reason why the stock is so high now. I am intending to build a commission that I'll try to keep live that will be an exterminator. So it'd be a really cheap option to exterminate all of your trumbles. It will kill
Mass
literally
genocide.
all of them. I'm sorry?
You're actually trying to do mass genocide?
It's certainly a mass killing. I'm not sure if it's genocide, but it's a mass killing.
If it is genocide, you're going to hear from the branch of sight very soon.
Oh, well, you know what? That sounds like a narrative opportunity to me.
It's not
Oh,
genocide
no.
as long as something survives. I'm sure we can
The
find a
entirety of the observatory will protest if you decide to go that way.
I'm sure we can find a way that the branch of sight will always have trumbles in their observatory so that it's not
Ooh.
genocide.
I can already smell the title of the next roleplay event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you are feeling really sympathetic to trumbles, I'll go ahead and add one to your inventory now.
No.
And
Stop. Don't do that.
truly though, I think that's one area we can improve with the commissions is just having an exterminator there. And in the case for the new member that put himself so far in the negatives, it was a really simple fix as soon as he reported it. But hey, if you fall far in the negatives and you don't report it, then don't expect any of us to help you.
I have the perfect solution for this issue. Take all the trumbles and ship them over to Cubio 6. Problem solved.
All right, and we caught that on audio, so we'll be sure to utilize that.
Saving it for blackmail.
Yeah.
Have fun finding both of them.
That new user that fell deeply into the negatives by selling all the trumbles was actually based on a bug that I have fixed now with my recent changes, which was that I never accounted for that something can actually be sold for negative. So you basically buy something. So there was no check that you have the diamonds required to do it. And this should now be fixed. So this is, I think, practically limited to trumbles. I don't think we have any other things that sell for
No.
negative prices. But even if we had other items, you cannot just buy and go deeply into the negatives now.
Oh, good. I mean, that's nice of you. That's very kind. I honestly didn't mind, but I'm sure Takaron would have appreciated that when he fell 50k low after
Definitely.
he made the quick decision to sell. And I suppose you could end up selling all of that and not realizing the damage you were causing until it was too late. So, however, you can. Oh no, you can't just buy it back. You can only buy one. So
You know, that reminds me of the beautiful day when a special member of us decided to use that hacking command Marcus DiPaolo told him to never use.
yeah. Don't use that anymore.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was terrible. Actually,
It's a good keyword. What actually happened there? I mean, obviously
Yeah,
chaos
please
happened, but
elaborate,
you-
please.
yeah,
no. I want you to explain it, Tekron. What did happen when you used it? Or who was it that used it? Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. It was T.
Exactly.
If I recall, it just dropped all of his diamonds to 0 or something,
It
or
was
threw him far
beautiful.
in the negative, and it crashed the market. No, what it actually did. Now I remember. What it actually did is it opened up his account for hacking. So 1 million people were using his account. So he was just buying things that he didn't ask for, selling other things. And then eventually his account was locked because
And
it was noticed he was making very bizarre purchases in multiple locations at the same time. So yeah,
and the
that was
overseer
fun.
dropped him.
So right, it didn't actually crash the market; it just crashed his account.
so using that do not use this command thing was basically the equivalent of dropping your credit card on the street.
Yeah, it was putting your credit card online on a public server. Yes. By the way, don't do that.
High overseer came in.
Yeah, he got bailed out.
It was actually worse than that because apparently I had mauled like 70 people in different systems at the same time.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
right. Yeah, he was also being reported for. Your account is your identity, so you want to protect that.
Please do it again soon.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions, Tech?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hand off, guys. It's been a wonderful experience, but I
Got more to do.
I had to flee.
All right.
Hmm. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I don't want to do much more follow up. I'm just happy that the side expedition is going on too. I'm participating in it myself. I haven't particularly mentioned that in the news part because I don't think it is too important there. But yes, I'm currently taking pretty much a BGS break and participating on the side expedition.
Beautiful.
So far, I have to say I'm really happy. The route is a little bit long for my taste because it's more jumps than I'm used to be doing, but still I can find my time enjoying it. And I think is at least so far as we've progressed in the expedition, you've picked a pretty nice route.
I've checked every system. I wanted to have systems that are really remarkable and colorful, of course.
Absolutely, and that is definitely something you managed to do. The nebulas that we've visited so far are not big, so there's not not many systems in the area that are part of the nebula that you can jump around and explore. And a lot of it is the journey from A to B, because those are definitely more jumps than the last expedition. But still, I like it. These systems are really, really colorful. So open opportunities for nice screenshots. And I'm really surprised that the route that you selected is it seems to be a rather uncommon route. I had a lot of first discoveries so far just on my journey to these systems, and I would not have expected to have so many first discoveries on a nebula tour.
Well, you see, although they are nebulas, they are not often visited. There are a lot of small systems on the way that I've selected specifically because it's an area not people go to. I mean, yeah, the Formandine Rift is not far away, but a lot of people fly there, but not in the direction I've selected. The most people just go point ahead or use the route over Barnards, but not a lot of them actually go from A points to B points to C points by selected routes that are not within the fastest selections of stars which you just skip. So it's actually a slower route, but it has some pretty nice views.
Absolutely. And I guess I can see that working out well, because these nebulas, at least so far, are also pretty small. So they are not something that you just see immediately when you open the galaxy map and you point at, oh, this looks interesting, I'll go there. So yeah, kind of a top secret view route or something. I don't know, but I like it so far.
If you want to visit the routes that a lot of people know, you have no difficulties in doing that. But if you want to see something new, besides it being a planetary nebula or some other nice place, just come to me. I know a lot of good routes, specifically for us to explore and discover new things.
You've called the current expedition the seasonal spring expedition or something like that. Does that
It's
mean you
this-
want to do more seasonal expeditions, like 4 per year or so?
Of course, I'd like to do 4 per year as seasonal ones and 1 grand expedition as annual one.
Oh, cool.
But I'm not sure where to place the grand one in between the seasonal ones.
Maybe
Probably
one
in
of
the
the
middle
could be
of
the
the
great
year.
one. But I like the idea.
Maybe the grand one would be going to Colonia, then to Segei and to Beagle Point and back.
Wow,
Once
that's a
per
pretty great one.
year. A 2-week expedition, I guess.
Probably. I have
But
no idea about these distances as we go out there.
if we're going to do that, you can actually earn some ranks, because you know the rewards for this huge distance. It's the
Right.
making you rich in just a few weeks route.
Right. I'm happy to see we have 2 to 3 more waypoints going on. It's the perfect length for an expedition for me, so I'm back in the bubble for BGS stuff quickly enough, so that I can participate. But I'm hyped for the rest of it, and I guess we'll talk about it with the next Congress and have some kind of conclusion and talk about it.
Of course, I hope to catch up soon.
Anything else somebody wants to bring up before we close the show?
Yeah, I have a question for Tekron.
What is it?
How come your Discord notifications are going absolutely bonkers?
Wait, you can hear that?
Yes.
Well, you know, I'm on 42 plus servers, and as impatient and busy as I am, I can't really mute all channels.
You can mute entire servers.
Yeah, but you see, every server I'm on has something important for me. and they have a lot of channels, and I wasn't able to go through them and mute the unimportant ones yet. So my computer actually does that all the time. The Discord notification is the number one sound I hear every day.
Reminds me of the time I accidentally tried the text-to-speech feature where it reads out notifications that you get. My hope was it would only read out when you get pings and, stuff that it actually notifies you about, because I have everything I don't want to know about immediately muted. But apparently it disregards the fact that it says notifications and just reads out everything in any channel that is not muted. So I only had that setting on for like half a minute maybe, and it didn't stop reading out stuff for like 10 minutes. It was so annoying.
Beautiful. The ring sound I have is actually the incoming message one from Elite. So you can imagine how many incoming messages I have.
If there's nothing else, I thank everyone for the show and would like to close it up. So thanks for listening and chatting with us, and see everyone in the next episode. Goodbye.
Don't crash your ships, please.